Neonic Void Productions presents.
Hello, and welcome to Spookocalypse.
Oh my
I am
God.
your host, shut up, Bunyip, and I'm joined with two other equally terrifying hosts. Would you kindly introduce yourselves?
Hi.
I'm the housekeeper.
Oh, okay. Hi. I'm the lint underneath your bed that's sentient, that's plotting your demise. Hi, I'm Zio.
Lint on your bed?
Lint under your bed. I'm the dust bunnies that's plotting to take over the world.
Let me get the vacuum real quick. Hold on.
Bitch, I wish you would. Baby, this lint booty is too thick for a vacuum cleaner. Thanks.
Okay, then the broom.
I'm a snap.
And
A
the reason
snack.
for my intro is because Mad Chairman is not with us today.
Yep, he will not be here for the next 2 weeks. Oh my God.
2 weeks.
I mean, it'd be 2 episodes.
All right. Got it. Audible wink.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
we don't pre-record these in advance. Okay. Housekeeper, you know what to do.
If you like this podcast, make sure you follow and rate us on whatever site you listen to your podcast. Share with your friends. New episodes get uploaded every Saturday. Links are down in the description for other podcasts that are part of the Neonic family. Follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at Spookocalypse. That's at SPOOKOCALYPSE. We have a YouTube. If you're here on YouTube listening to us, hello, hi, how are you? We also have our other shows eventually on here as well. We have a D&D one, and we have one about nerding about books. And then we have one about nerding about gods and pantheons and shit like that. So give those a check. We do spooky shit. And the mint is going to be on the pillow.
And Bunyip, what's today's flavored mint?
Drowning.
Jesus.
Okay,
What does
maybe
that
that's not an
taste
actual
like?
flavor.
What does that
Just,
taste like?
Like, it tastes like the feeling of water shoved up your nose. And you're
Oh,
trying
God.
to spit it all out.
It's like you chew the mint and then it explodes water inside your mouth that fills up your head.
It's a mint. It's like a gusher.
Oh my God, it's like a Fruit Gushers. Not sponsored.
But it's not good. It's not sweet filling. It's fucking salt water. Pressurized that explodes in your mouth.
Yeah, it tastes like a shrimp.
Oh, not a shrimp.
Not even a grilled
Like
shrimp, just
shrimp.
a straight up raw shrimp.
Ew.
Yeah,
Ew.
gross.
Oh, so it's slimy. Got it. Ugh. So today, ladies and gents, welcome to Spookocalypse. Today, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be doing 2 different movies. 1 movie a week, where I had Bunyip and Housekeeper choose a movie they wanted to do a review on. And today's episode is going to be Bunyip's pick. And that pick was...
Underwater from 2020.
Yes, 2020's film Underwater is a film that was released by 20th Century Fox. Actually, this is one of their first film, one of their actually not first films, last films they released before the acquisition of Fox to Disney. Yes. This is one. Yeah, this is one of their last films that has the 20th Century Fox name on it before when Disney got the full bottom. the buying went through. Whatever.
Mm.
This film was directed by William Ubank.
Ubank.
This film is the production companies behind is TSG Entertainment and Chernin Entertainment. It was released January 10th, 2020, right before the pandemic hit, actually.
Oof.
It was like 2 months before the pandemic hit. It's like this is beginning stages of Miss Rona. The budget for the film.
We're only going to be closed for 2 weeks.
It's fine. It's fine. 2 weeks turned into like what, 3 months? It was a great 3 months, by the way. I got a lot of sleep.
My guy, 2 years.
Well, I mean, we weren't in quarantine for 2 years. We had to go.
Texas wasn't even in quarantine, period.
I mean, no, like I didn't go to work. We were on lockdown for like a month or two.
Yeah, but we weren't like strict quarantine where we weren't allowed outside of the house.
Well, we really weren't for that long unless it was necessity or some shit. Because I couldn't even go to work. Oh, I didn't go to work.
Apparently, Six Flags was a necessity after 2 months.
Yeah, same. Because after like 2 months, I had to go back to work at the museum too. But but those 2 months outside of depression, it was great. Got a lot of sleep in.
And I got a little piece of paper that was like, hey, this person's allowed to be working because I was a cashier at CVS.
Ew.
Oh.
Because that's essential, right?
Yeah, CVS is totally essential.
But hey, the birth of the pandemic gave us the podcast to where we are today, because this is what paved the way for me to do this shit. So here we are. Anyway, but yeah, this movie came out before the pandemic really got bad. The budget for this film was 50 to 80 million roundabouts. And it doesn't say exact number. That's just like a rounded figure that was thrown out there. And the movie made 41 million in the box office. So it underperformed, unfortunately.
I don't know why. It was so good.
It was so fucking good that you're all about soon to find out. This film stars Kristen Stewart, icon. Has Vincent Cassel, Jessica Hemwick, and John
Gallagher.
That's how you say it. It's Gallagher Jr., TJ Miller, and Mohammed.
God. No,
not Mohammed. I was thinking of somebody else. I was looking at somebody else. It's I cannot say his name.
Mommy do Ache.
Hang on.
That's what it says right there on the pronunciation of his name. He was also in Archive 81.
Yes, he was. Archive 81.
Yeah. Which listen to the podcast. Just go.
We did an episode on that. Yeah. On that show.
Yeah.
Fabulous actor.
Yes, we did a review on that, but also go listen to the actual podcast of that show because it's in an actual show.
Nonetheless, though, he was one of the best parts of that show. Fabulous actor, and he's also in this movie.
Yeah, amazing.
So, and then TJ Miller, which I forgot he was in this film.
Dude, I heard his voice and I was like, yo, TJ Miller?
I'm like, TJ Miller? So again, Kristen Stewart's the star of the show.
Queen icon.
Buzzcut blondie, given lesbian vibes. Awesome, love it.
I mean, she
looks
a lesbian. Dude, she's fine.
She is kind of fine.
I've had the biggest crush on her since forever.
Is Kristen Stewart a full-on lesbian or is she bisexual?
I thought she was lesbian.
I thought she was like.
I thought you were American.
You're American. Hold up, we're gonna Google check this. Is Kristen Stewart gay? I know she is, but like, we're gonna get straight to the point. Is Kristen Stewart gay? Kristen Stewart says her sexuality is confusing for other people.
Well, what is it?
She said that coming out as bisexual is confusing for some people.
Being confused, like coming out as bisexual was confusing.
Is Kristen Stewart lesbian? Yes. There's different articles say she's a bisexual woman, and some other articles say she's a lesbian.
Okay, so I'm just
Who
gonna
knows?
quote. I'm just gonna quote what she
She's
said
gay.
on Saturday Night Live whenever she was talking about our previous president. She goes, "Yeah, like this guy is like so anti-gay that kind of sucks, dude. Because I am totally gay." And I was like, "Yes, Queen, go."
Work it, honey. Yes, ma'am. Oscar nominated actress. If you didn't know she was Oscar nominated, she was. I didn't know that. She was Oscar nominated back actually in 2022 for Spencer as Diana.
Oh,
I still need to see that movie because I heard that movie's. I've heard it's pretty good and heard other things. And oh no, she sucks. But of course, most people have a weird hatred against Kristen Stewart for some reason. I don't see it.
well, the people hate on the people who acted in the Twilight series.
But I feel like she gets the most slack.
Hates. Well, because that wasn't a great role. But to be fair, Bella is an extremely plain individual, so she didn't have much to work with in terms.
You want to know more about Twilight? At some point, we might talk about it as a joke or roast it. At some point in the future, I'm sure. No. Add that to the calendar.
No.
I think it'd be fun.
Rewatch these movies.
I think it'd be fun. That's a future project for another day. But yes, Kristen Stewart stars in it. She's the point of view person that we follow throughout the whole movie. The movie is about 95 minutes long, and if you currently want to watch it, it's on Hulu. Now, take it away, Bunyip. What happens in Underwater?
Well, to latch onto the conversation we just wrapped up, I'm also a sucker for girls with short hair. Anyways.
Period. And that's on.
Excuse me. All right. So it's the distant future of 2050, and they're on this underwater station called the Kepler 822, and it's 7 miles long, deep into the ocean.
Hot.
So if anyone has hydrophobia or just fear of water, they kind of nail it because you're going deep.
Markiplier, don't watch this movie.
They're going deep, but not in the good way.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, I'm like, I love water. This is kind of beautiful. This is fantastic. Except for the other horror stuff that happens, but we're going to get to that. It's a research and drilling facility that's operated by TN Industries, and it's taking place at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, one of the deepest places, if not the deepest place on Earth. And the place is struck by presumably an earthquake. Like the first thing we see is Nora, played by Kristen Stewart, getting ready for her day, and she talks about like when you're down here, you can't tell the difference between night and day. They all seem the same because there's no windows, you can't see the sun, and even if you could, you're too deep to really gaze upon it anyway. She's brushing her teeth, and there's what looks like a granddaddy longlegs. And it's in the sink, and she's about to just wash it out, but then she lifts it up with a little piece of napkin or paper. Like, oh, that's sweet. And they're like, how did it get in here? How did you do that? And she also talks about cynicism. I was like, yeah, it's easier to be negative and not feel anything. And yet she does the positive thing and saves this spider. Right. So I'm wondering what that's all about. And then before she can even get her socks and shoes on, she hears this creaking and looks around and notices water dripping from the ceiling. And then suddenly there's a hole breach. And water starts rushing in. And so it's like, oh, we're right into the action. Just starts running, banging on all these doors, like, everybody wake up. There's been a hole breach. Excuse me. She's... Oh yeah, she's a mechanical engineer. So they're making their way to the escape pod bay, and she runs into Rodrigo, who is Mamadou Athi, if I said that right. And they make it to this little chamber that has this computer that isn't quite working, but then Nora is able to break it open, fiddle with it a bit, and then it's like, okay, now we can shut the door. But then there's two other colleagues that are trying to run their way here. And then Rodrigo's like, you might want to shut this door, otherwise we're all gonna die. So it becomes a situation of save us two and kill these two, or don't do anything and let everybody die. And you have to make the hard decision of hitting the button and breaking away from the rest of the station. So they survive, and we have our first, presumably, 2 deaths. And they meet up with Paul. That's right. It's like they're trying to find a way to find some escape pods. And they find Paul. I think he was buried under some rubble. And he's also the one that has the bunny, the little stuffed bunny. Like, this is my best friend. Keep him safe. But they have to crawl their way over to where he is, and they find what was the name of that one character? Like, we just see her dead body.
Like, they say her name, but I didn't catch it.
I think it's her with an M, like McKellen.
Yeah, they're talking like that because they refer to each other as from their last names.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that person did not survive, which is unfortunate, but they have to move on. And they make their way, and they find Emily and Liam, who are unsuccessful in their attempts to make contact with the surface. They're in a control base area. They also find Lucian, the captain. And he's like, yep, all the escape pods are gone. I can't contact anybody. We're going to have to find another way to get out of here to somewhere safe where we can make contact, or at the very least, get some escape pods. So then Lucian's like, we could use pressurized suits to walk about a mile across the ocean floor to Roebuck 641, and then we could maybe resurface from there. And then Paul's like, you guys got me out of the rubble for this?
Oh, yeah, just kill me now.
He's like, ha ha ha, we saved your life. And yeah, pretty much they're all scared. Like, this might not work. And it's like, yeah, but it also, we're saying there's a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yes. So then they're descending in this freight elevator. No, wait, they get the suits first. They get all these suits, and Rodrigo notices one of the helmets, and he inspects it. And you kind of notice something's up. But everyone gets their suits, including these helmets. They kind of look like Space Marines, but underwater, so I guess they're more like Sea Marines. And then they descend into the freight elevator, which has to fill it with water to balance out the pressure from the chamber with all the air, with the chamber that has absolutely no air, because physics. And as the door is about to open to the outside, where they can go underwater and start walking, Rodrigo's helmet starts to crack.
I don't like that.
And then the depressurization process is so quick that it basically destroys his helmet, and he implodes. The surviving crew see a distress beacon from one of the escape pods below, and Smith and Paul go to investigate. I was like, well, Rodrigo's dead, but we have to keep moving on. So I don't remember like where they had to walk first, because they don't make it to the Roebuck, and they were suggesting like, should we go to the Shepherd station? I was like, no, that place is lost. There's nothing there. Like, all right. But they send Smith and Paul to check outside to this escape pod that had a distress beacon, and they realize that it's empty. There's no body, except there is a body close to it, and it looks like it's been weirdly torn apart. And there's something feeding on it. And then I think like Nora and Emily are still back at the freight that they had dropped down in, and it was like, please call them back. It's like, yeah, I kind of feel this. Please call them back. It's not safe out there, because I don't think that was an earthquake that ruined everything. I think it was something bigger.
Wonder who could it be? Tee.
And then
I
there's this sea creature thing that shows up. It's small and then attacks them. It's like, oh my goodness! And then Paul like takes it back with him. They bring it back to their safe freight station thing, and lay on the table, and it's like, ooh, it's an unknown species, and it was eating the dead body. And Emily like looks at it with her pen, and it wiggles a bit, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's still alive. Like, no, pretty sure it's dead. They killed it with, I think it looked like a nail gun. Like they had little weapons that they could use, and they kind of look like nail guns. Had to take a moment to breathe for a bit. And then they hear like something much bigger outside. And it's like, I'm just going to close this door. And they close the door, and it ends up being...
I fucking love that guy, dude.
It ends up being a bad idea to close the door because they have to like reopen it to escape. It's like, get the helmet on. It was like, our little safe place is no longer safe. Not because that little creature woke up, but because its friends, I guess, want it back. Which is understandable. All right. But the 5 remaining survivors make their way to the seafloor. As they keep walking, the Kepler explodes above and nearly buries them in debris. And Smith gets hit, but Price and Lucian save him. Which one was Price? I don't know which one Price was. I just know like their first names.
Price.
Yeah, it's at Price.
Her Nora.
That's her last name?
Or her last name is Price, but it's Nora. Norah is her first name.
Goodness, I just know her as Nora.
Nora Price.
Oh, I get what the name is Price, because she has to pay up something in the end. I get it. Clever.
Oh.
Yeah, Smith gets hit, and it damages his suit, so he has trouble operating it. So they manage to get through to an access tunnel at this other station that's pretty close by. And like, okay, we can change out our suits and clean them. And then notice that the oxygen scrubber from Smith's suit is badly damaged, so he won't be able to breathe as effectively. So they exit. They get this mover vehicle, and they just ride that down as far as they can go through this access tunnel until they find a submerged area. I was like, oh, it's not going to go through the water. Got to stop the mover. And then they just go deeper into the water, and there's clearly something behind them in the water, very similar to the thing that Paul killed, and was like, hey, look, everybody, here's what I brought to show and tell. This pink, ugly thing. And so Nora was like, oh, yeah, they go to this area that's submerged in water, and then they're like, well, it looks like it's blocked off. I guess we can't go any further. And then Nora's like, let me just dip underwater and see if there's maybe some space. And she's like, oh, I can slip through here because I'm the smallest. And then they all steadily slip through this underwater part because there's just some space for just about everyone to slip through. And before Paul can Paul does make it through, but something starts tugging on his leg. And it keeps ripping at his leg. They can't get him out. And I thought it would be like, oh, it's just going to rip off like part of his leg or the armor of the suit. No, it just it sucks him out. Like his face gets cartoon physics, just
Yeah, that's gross. That was gross. I was like, "Eh."
yeah. I'm like, oh my god, that's some Dead Space stuff right there.
I was living for it.
Honestly, a lot of stuff in this movie does have some, like, it reminds me a little bit of Dead Space, except underwater. It also reminds me of Iron Lung, where you're trapped in a submarine. It's like, okay, you have to explore things, and you can't leave the submarine. So it's just slight inspirations. Anyway, we're moving on. So poor Paul is gone. And they notice that Smith's damaged oxygen pod will cause him to suffocate from the toxic fumes from an explosion that happened earlier. I don't remember this explosion. But they're like, we're gonna help Smith walk. We'll drag him if we have to. So there's just the 4 people left. That's Nora, Lucian, Emily, and Smith. Excuse me. And as they're moving along the ocean floor, a humanoid creature appears and drags Smith into a cave. And then Lucian manages to get Smith out, but he himself gets pulled away from the others. And then Nora is hanging on to him, so she gets dragged along with Lucian. And they end up on like this. It looks like part of the facility, like a cylinder in a big circular ring. I'm not really sure what it is, but it looks like it was part of the building they were just in. And as Lucian's getting dragged continuously, Nora's holding on. And then I think it's like the pressure of her suit is getting too low, or the oxygen is getting too low. Maybe it's pressure, but point is, she has to let go, but she refuses to. So Lucian's like, fine, I'll let go for you. And then cuts loose. And he gets dragged away. And it's sad because the earlier established Lucian has a kid. If I didn't really understand that scene from earlier where Emily is talking like, do y'all have any kids? And Nora's like, nope. But Lucian establishes that he has a daughter named Allie, who's 14. But then Nora's like, well, isn't she older than that? Isn't she more closer to my age? And then I think Emily makes some comment like, being in the darkness warps your perception of time. And then Lucian's more like, just focus on the mission. Don't worry about me. I want to explore that a little later. So now it's just the 3 of them. So we've got Nora and Emily who have to drag Smith along the floor, making their way to the Roebuck, which is... they're almost there. But they find a nest of these humanoid creatures just hanging from the ceiling. It's kind of like jellyfish tendrils, but
We love
these
a
are
good tendril.
like they are jellyfish.
We
They're
love a
weird.
good fish person.
Pretty much. And they're like, okay, we're gonna try and sneak by. Then freaking Emily's oxygen alarm goes off and it wakes up the creatures. And you're like, damn it, how could you? Meanwhile, Nora is almost completely swallowed by one of these creatures, like as it's just clasping onto her helmet, and it's just trying to eat her like a snake. Just nom nom. And she gets one of those guns and is able to just blast a hole through it and tears her way out. I was like, okay, got through that one. And then all the other ones are looking at her. Like, oh no, there's too many. But that's not even the worst part.
It's a GG.
Like they're about to attack, but then like they all look in a certain direction, and then all of them are being lifted up at the same time. And then you see, oh, they're attached to something even bigger.
Oh. Yes.
It's presumably Cthulhu himself.
It is.
It
I have a,
is.
it is. I have a story. So when this movie came out, they hid the fact that Cthulhu was in it. Obviously, it was a hit. It was a secret. They didn't show any trailers. Nothing. I went to go see this on a date with an ex-boyfriend. If you're listening to this, go fuck yourself. Anyway, went to go see it on a date. And I was like, cool, this movie's great. Cool. And I'm like, halfway, like during the movie, I'm like, wait a minute. Those fish people look familiar. My HP Lovecraft senses were tingling. And I'm like, that looks familiar. Are those the deep ones? And during the whole movie, I'm like, that looks suspicious. And the ex-boyfriend or the boyfriend at the time was like, nah, it's not that. You're just enjoy the movie. I'm like, okay. And then Cthulhu showed up on the screen. I'm like, I literally sat up from my seat and I'm like, motherfucker, are you fucking kidding me? I was shook. I was screaming on the inside. I was so excited. It made the movie so much better for me. Because I mean, I was already enjoying the movie, but it made it top tier. I'm like, oh yes, this is beautiful.
Best friend watched it before I did, and he comes up to me afterward. He goes, "Bestie, you're gonna love this movie." He goes, "You have to watch this movie. You better go watch this movie because you're gonna love it." And I was just like, "Okay," and I never watched it.
Wow.
And I was just like, I trust him, and whenever he says that I'm gonna enjoy a movie because he fucking reads me like a book. So like I was just like, okay, I'll watch it, and then I never got around to watching it
So
until
good.
I had to watch it today.
Wow, this time was the first time you watched it?
Yes. And so
Wow.
whenever I read in our chat like, "Oh my god, I love underwater," and I was like, "You fucking would." Like as soon as I saw him pop up, I was like, "You fucking would love this movie."
Yes,
But I love it too.
this is my favorite, one of my favorite Lovecraftian horror. Like it's right up there with the Void. Like it's up there. It's like so good because you don't know he's popping up until he does, and then you're shooketh. You're just like, oh, kudos to the director. Give this director more money. Give him another job. Give him a film. Like give him another horror sci-fi film, please. I need more work from him. Daddy, work. Like you had me bewildered. I was shooketh. I was talking about that movie for like a week. Sorry, continue. I just love that part so much.
Apologize for Cthulhu.
You don't have to apologize.
Cthulhu. I swear, I'm not a monster fucker, but if Cthulhu's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey,"
I love that Shin Comics one, which is like, "Come join us," and he's just like, And Cthulhu's like, "We have cookies," and it's just like he has the fucking hood on with a little like flag that says Cthulhu on it.
yes.
I fucking love those comics from him. That and then the one where he like summons Cthulhu, and he's like, "Why would you summon me?" And he's like, "Honestly, I just wanted to check up on you." He's like, and then like they do like a little. Like and then it cuts to a scene of like him like Cthulhu resting his head on his hand like talking to the dude.
Oh, fuck.
I fucking love those comics. I was like, honestly, same.
That's a vibe.
But to wrap up the plot, they do make it inside the Roebuck, and they do find 3 escape pods, one of which is malfunctioning and inoperable. And then it's like, okay, Paul, Smith, you get this pod, and Emily, you get this other pod. And I was like, oh, what about that one? Are you gonna be able to make it? It's like, don't worry about that pod. It looks broken. Well, just get in the pod.
And she's like, I'll fix it. She's like, I'll stay here and fix it with you.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'll take care of it. Get in the pod. And it's like, get in the pod. Just smacks her. It's like, ah.
Aggressive.
And then they're both sent to safety, and then Nora's like, oh, well, I guess I'm just stuck here. But then she notices that all of the little humanoid creatures are swimming up to the pods. It's like, oh no, they're not going to make it. Unless oh, we're sitting on a big source of energy that's just waiting to be unleashed. Gonna set all the settings to as high as they can go, initiate a core meltdown, and then be like, let's light this shit up. Waits about 60 seconds, sets it, sets it off to be like, okay, initiate meltdown. Big boom, big explosion, kills everything except the 2 escape pods. They're out of range. And I'm like, oh, that's why her last name is Prize. Because she had to give up her life to save the others.
Well, I'm glad that you came to that conclusion because I never even put those two together. That together.
It could just be like coincidence.
Oh no, I don't feel like it's a coincidence. You when it comes to like films and stuff or like art in general, you can't just assume it's coincidence. That's too good of a coincidence.
Yes, names usually have a lot of meaning in literature, unless it's your first book in which you name someone Joe just because you needed a name.
Billy Bob Joe.
Something like that. And you're like, wait a minute, I could have named them something completely different to foreshadow their fate or something. But on top of that, it shows like a little bit whilst the credits are showing, it's like TN Industries covers up every goddamn thing. They're like, we're not going to let people interview the survivors. They're maybe too traumatized by the Roebuck accident. We don't know what caused it. We're absolutely going to resume drilling as soon as we get some stuff rebuilt. No comments.
They woke up Cthulhu. They woke his ass up. He's like, y'all rude. Y'all ugly.
Y'all ugly.
Cthulhu Fatagan.
Cthulhu's like, you motherfuckers woke me up for what? For what? Y'all crusty, dusty, and musty.
You ain't gonna get any sleep because of me.
Yes.
It's like, I didn't get no sleep because of y'all.
Y'all
I'm not gonna go to sleep because of me.
Well, if you're going to sleep, you're going to sleep 10,000 feet under the sea. Or you're just gonna, oh God, you're just gonna, you know what? You're gonna blow up like a balloon. You're gonna pop like a zit.
Yes, one of the characters has mentioned, like, this isn't some 20,000 leagues under the sea shit, is it? Oh, God.
Plot twist. Cthulhu's like, a bet.
But yeah, that pretty much sums up the plot of the movie.
Beautiful. Stunning.
I don't have much to add in ways of symbolism and things. I did watch it today, and I did enjoy it. There were moments that did frighten me. I'm like, yeah, if I was really terrified of the sea and the ocean, this would probably get to me. But I wasn't. But I'm not saying that it wasn't a scary movie. I'm just saying, like, if you have hydrophobia, you probably won't enjoy this movie at all. But what do y'all have to say about this?
I loved it. I love these type of movies. It's in the genre that I live for, the weird sci-fi horror kind of like stuff that are native to Earth, kind of under the sea or like underground or some shit. Like, I love this type of shit. So I went in thinking, great, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to have a fun time regardless if it's stupid or not. And then Cthulhu. And I'm like, girl.
This is why the aliens don't invade, because they know that there are far greater dangers underneath the surface.
That would make so much sense. And I'd be more terrified if I found that out. I think I'd be scared.
It's like, we're going to take over him. Oh, what the hell is that? Oh, no, y'all deal with that problem. It's like, what? War? No. Cthulhu. And they fly away. You're like, Cthulhu, what are you talking about? Oh, no.
like the rumor that's not real, by the way. Like that rumor that NASA started off exploring the sea and then went to space. But why? But plot twist, that's not true at all. It's made up. But like, if it was true, they were exploring the sea and then all of a sudden they switched to space because they're trying to find a way off. Why? What y'all hiding? What's down there? Do we want to know?
Like budget concerns, like how expensive is it to explore the sea versus how expensive is it to explore the space?
Well, they go from they start off with sea and then they go to space. I would think that was something's wrong there if that was real. By the way, of course,
If it were me,
I'd be like, that's concerning.
Space is cheaper.
Space is cheaper since fucking when? They had to make technology to withstand space in general. The sea, you would just have to
sea because pressure is.
Yes, sure. If you go deep enough, yeah. But even back then, they could. But I don't know. Would you want to just explore your own planet before you go off into other worlds?
Probably.
And of course, the sea is the thing on this planet that's least explored. What's down there? I don't know if I want to find out.
Maybe the sea people that showed up one day wreaked havoc and then just disappeared, and people were like, "Who the hell were they?"
I mean, I love the ocean.
It's like that's a fascinating story of just these sea people
Right?
showed up, wreaked havoc for a day, and then left, and no one knows where they came from.
Right? Like, I love the ocean, but the ocean's like ooky spooky to the max. I would just hate to be out in the middle of the ocean on a floaty by myself in the middle of the night, and the ocean's just calm by myself. I'd be like, oh, I don't like this. I'm not hydrophobic or anything, but like, that's terrifying. That's terrifying. You're like, I'm just chilling. There's nothing here that I can see.
Not to be hydrophobic, but
the ocean's kind of ooky spooky. And honestly, I'm always when I go to the beach. Every time I go to the beach, I'm like, if Cthulhu was to rise from the ocean right here in the Gulf of Mexico, I'd be like, yes, Queen, work, destroy this fucking world. I'd be his number one fan, cheering him on.
Same.
I'm like, yes, Queen, honey, you better work that. You better work that, Cthulhu. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I did say Cthulhu.
I hate it here.
Maybe we should censor that.
Censor. That's a made-up word. Cthulhu pussy. Cthulhu.
Because of what it brings to mind. Just some ideas.
Just some ideas. Censor that. Just some ideas. That's not even the worst thing we've ever said on this podcast.
That's true.
That's, I mean, literally not even the worst thing we've ever said on this podcast.
Said, like, those kids deserve to die.
We said far worse things than me saying Cthulhu. So, housekeeper, what were your initial thoughts on this film?
Oh, I loved it. I was all for just watching a movie with Kristen Stewart in it. So I was like, work. I'll 100% do it. Other than that, it still doesn't make me that scared of the ocean. I can understand people watching this and them being completely terrified of the ocean. But I would be on Cthulhu's side. Like,
Hashtag Cthulhu did nothing wrong.
Cthulhu did nothing wrong. They woke him up. He just wanted a nap. I mean,
they woke him up.
Honestly, I get that way whenever you wake me up too. So, like, it's a mood. Like, I'd be like, who the fuck? I'm gonna kill you. So,
rating system.
Rating system.
How many fish people?
For me?
1 out of 5 fish people.
Who's gonna go first?
Imploded sea suits?
Imploded sea
That might be
suits?
too long.
No, fish people. Cthulhu's.
Fish people, fish folk. Fish fuckers, whatever.
Deep ones.
Fish fuckers?
And you're telling me Cthulhu's bad? You're saying fish fuckers over here?
I don't mean as in the act. I mean as in the noun.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. But how are they supposed to know? You're just saying over here, fish fuckers. Mm-hmm. Check yourself before you wreck
Movie's
yourself.
4 to 5 deep ones, okay?
You said 4 out of 5 deep ones.
Yeah, they went deep.
Yeah, they went deep.
Oh God. They
Whatever
went.
will make
They
this
went
episode
3
last longer.
They went 3 in deep. Oh God.
Stop. Okay.
I
stop,
might.
stop.
I might cut that part. Oh my God. So 4 out of 5. I will give it a 4 out of 5 deep ones as well.
You said 3 out of 5?
4.
Okay, I was about to say, like, excuse me? Yeah, I'm also gonna go for 4. It was a good movie.
So 4 out of 5 deep ones all around. Yay! Solid movie. Fun. I kind of like the fact that it jumps off right in the middle of the action.
Yeah, for real.
Because it gets straight to the point. It doesn't fuck around. It's like, here, you want to see some fucking fish people, some fucking bullshit tomfoolery of chaos. Let's just throw you right in. No lead up. Just here you go. I kind of dig that. And the behind the scenes stuff, if you ever get a chance to watch any of the behind the scenes features, it's really cool because they talk about all of that was filmed in a building that was specially made if I remember correctly, in Atlanta, Georgia. A facility, a big old building made specifically to house water and do these type of shots, film this type of movie in. And I'm like, that's fucking rad. So if y'all ever get a chance to look up any of the special features, do so, because the making of this film it's very interesting to watch because they did everything in one big building with different sets and different like pools and shit. And I'm like, damn. And they talk about how much how fun they had shooting this. But you could just tell everyone had fun, regardless if the movie made a lot of money, because it didn't make its budget, and most people probably did. I don't think Rotten Tomatoes scores very high, but they had fun with this movie, and that's all I asked for. I love a movie more when I see the director and the actors and staff all are having fun while making a movie, regardless if people like it or not, or if critics like it or not.
You said like a building about storing water? Was it a water treatment facility?
No, it's a large building that they built that they had all the sets in, and there was like separate pools that were made specifically to use water in the shoot some of these shots. Like for example, when they were in the facility in the beginning and all the water was busting in, they didn't use CGI for any of that. They actually had water like bursting through the walls and shit. And they shot everything in a certain way, and they had these like everything was built physically there, like stuff with like they had what do they call it? They had hallway shit. They on like a little shaker thing that was shake it a certain way, and they did everything more practical effect in the beginning anyway. Now, when they did the deep sea stuff, obviously there was CGI involved, but like in the beginning, all of that was pretty much. It looked like it was pretty much shot there, not like CGI'd, which I appreciate. Because there's like God. I hope not. They all had to be comfortable with getting wet, being wet for hours on end.
It was cold, bro. I bet.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I'm sure they were pruned the fuck out like raisins. But it just seems like they all had a lot of fun making it. And I'm like, I want to do that. I want to make a genre film like this where I don't give two shits about what people think of it. I just want to have fun. That's what I love about movies like this. Especially when they just don't give two shits about if it's going to make money or not.
If you make a fan film, then we can have as much fun as you want.
Oh, yeah. The fan films.
Fan films, and then there's one particular idea that I've been playing around with. I kind of want to do too. I'm not gonna say what it is here, but I'm playing around with it anyway. So 4 out of 5 deep ones. So thank you guys for listening to today's episode. Catch y'all next time. Let's talk about another movie. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.